on KCCR. Fording Electric and Gales Gas. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Oahe Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. And now, live from the Long Branch in downtown Pierre, it's award-winning KCCR Sports Director, John Winkler.
As we welcome you here live the Long Branch one final time here in the 2021-22 school year, as we will talk with Coach Steve Steele, the Y Capitals, as we'll also talk with the head coach of the Pierre baseball team. Steve Steele is the head coach of the Y Capitals. We'll talk with him, and then the head coach of the Pierre baseball team. We'll talk with we'll talk with Coach Steve Gray, as the Pierre baseball is just about ready to get started. They're just less than a month away from first pitch of opening day, and we'll have coverage on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. But coming up this weekend, it is the Boys Varsity State Hockey Tournament, as we'll have all 11 games for you on Capital City Rock, and you can watch them on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. So that'll be coming up this weekend, and we'll talk with Coach Steve Steele about that Boys Varsity Hockey Tournament coming up this weekend. That'll be coming up right after this. You're listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on a KCCR.
Branch offers variety, live music, and drink specials to help you unwind.
True, but you've got to try one of the most diverse menus available.
Got to get in a shout-out for their wings. Some of the best in town. Tuesdays, they have wing specials and a killer selection of flavors.
And now, the LB is home of KCCR's Coach's Corner. Wednesday nights up on the big stage.
Come for the food, stay for the fun. The LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street in downtown Pierre. For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre still wants your trade or your spare vehicle, and we're willing to give you top dollar. And we'll throw in an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Sell us your car, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you an additional 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Trade in your vehicle for a new or different one, and Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota will give you 250 Pierre Pride dollars. Gateway Ford Lincoln Toyota at 518 East Sioux Avenue in Pierre. Call 605-224-7378 and visit GatewayFordToyota.com.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
And we are back here live at the Long Branch here to wrap up our season here at the Long Branch for Coach's Corner. And joining me, as he does every single first segment, is Coach Steve Steele, the Y Capitals. And, Coach, it's down to the last couple of days. Sunday evening, the state championship will be crowned. The Y Capitals playing that third game on Saturday in the first round against the Aberdeen Cougars. It's always exciting this time of the year, but does it always feel like it's a little bit more exciting than the year prior?
You know, I think maybe a little bit when you get down to it. It's kind of interesting, you know, it's the third year getting to be with varsity guys, you know, in this capacity doing this. And we started out as the morning game, then we moved to the early afternoon game, and now we're moving to the next game. So next year, maybe we'll be the late one next year if this all holds true.
Well, and hopefully that means you're the 1 seed and not the 8 seed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you started out as a 6 seed 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. Last year, the 2 seed, and now the 4 seed in this capacity. But against the Aberdeen Cougars, and we'll have a story on that, and we'll be able to hear from you, talk about it, but we can hear about it right now. The Aberdeen Cougars are a good team. They're a much improved team for the last couple of years. They made it in 2019, but they made it because Mitchell couldn't participate in the state tournament. So this is their first year in quite a while that they've been one of the top 8 teams to be in the state tournament, but they're a really, really good team at number 5.
They are. They've got a really good top line, pretty deep. I think that's another team we look at, and there's not a huge drop-off, amongst their lines, or there's not one that you're just like, wow, we can really attack these guys, So matchups are a little tough. Their top line's 3 seniors. They work really well together. They do a lot of things very well. Their second line's their younger line, but that's probably got their best pure goal scorer on it. Carson Myrie's, I think he had 20 goals on the season, so he's their top goal scorer in terms of just pure goal scorer. I think that top line works really well, and then, that second line really works to feed him. And then I said they've got the young guy in goal, the Hunstad kid. I mean, he's a big kid for young. I think he's 14. He's on the U14 team with Carter, but he's got a very bright future ahead of him. But he's a very good guy back there, and he's one that we can't afford to let him get some momentum. So that they're a very dangerous team. I think every time we've played them this year, it's been a great hockey game. The first one on the regular season went to overtime. So it should be a fun first-round matchup.
And they are a young team. It's not just this year that they're going to be good. They're going to be good. They have some good seniors on their team that won't be back next year, but there's a lot of good young talent that will be coming back next year and the year after that.
Yeah, it's kind of been funny, with Carter being an 8th grader and, on the South Dakota U14 team, or Team SD.
There you go.
I was trying to find what it was, but that's what it is. With him on that, he has the Hunstad kids, their goalie, and Carson Myrie's on that team, and Jackson Danielson's on that team. They've got a pretty good contingent on their varsity team that's represented on Team SD there. So, this is a talented hockey team. It's kind of a different mix. I think their talent is in their younger grades, but their older kids, work really, really hard. I think those are their blue collar guys, and that top line they're just tenacious. They really, really skate hard, and they just grind out goals and grind out shifts. So it's kind of I don't even know how to describe it really. That first line is just all about pressure and all about attack, and there's really little finesse to that group. And then that second group is they're younger, but they're the finesse crew that's going to try and make things look pretty and be able to do that at times.
And for you guys, you beat them twice already, so you know how to stop them to the point of getting a win, and that's pretty much what it's all about. It can be as ugly as a game as possible as long as you win. That's the ultimate goal, is just win each game and continue to move on. But how do you slow them down? How do you stop them?
I think the biggest thing that they do well is they transition extremely well, and they really force the puck into one side of the ice and try and keep it there. They don't like an opponent being able to switch sides of the ice, with them. They like to keep you boxed in, cause some turnovers, and then get numbers to the net. They're really, really good in front of the net. They've had a lot of goals with tips, deflections, and rebounds. That's what I'd said. Their top line is extremely works well in front of the net. I think when we played them in Expo here, they had 2 out of their 3 or 4 goals were tips, deflections in front of the net. So, they're very, very good at that, and their defensemen are really good at shooting to their teammate, as opposed to they're not always shooting at the net, and that makes it very, very difficult for our goalies. So, that's going to be a challenge for them, but something that we've worked on all week.
So, and you mentioned the Aberdeen goalie and your guys' goalie. You have 2 really good goalies in Carter Scholes and Kieran Duffy, and also Colin Lee, who we'll talk about him in here in just a second too. But Carter Scholes will get the start on Friday and against the Aberdeen Cougars. He's a very steady presence, and he likes to. His positioning is very good, and probably suits well to face Aberdeen.
He does. It's going to be one of those games where, you don't want to get too emotional in a game like this. It's especially that first day of the state tournament. Everyone's really, really amped up. It's a great environment down there. That's one thing you got to give Sioux Falls a lot of credit for. It's a fun hockey rink to have the state tournament. We had a great turnout last year for both our games that were at there, and then obviously still at the Denny, but the Denny's a little bigger, so it doesn't quite feel as loud and stuff. But it's really easy to get your emotions out of control when you get to these state tournament games. So it's very important to have that steady presence back, behind you, that we're going to be able to be okay, and just being able to refocus at times throughout the game, and obviously the game within the game and all that.
Let's talk a little bit about Colin Lee real quick, because there's not many opportunities where guys, and you don't want injuries to happen ever. There's never a good time for an injury, and for some teams, an injury to a goalie means that they have nothing left. And for you guys, the good thing is that you don't want to have to deal with it, though. That you have Carter and Kieran that both play really well. You don't want 2 injuries, but if somehow 2 injuries happen, you have Colin Lee that can be he wouldn't dress as a goalie, but he's the emergency backup. Like, there's not many teams in high school hockey across the state, even go to Minnesota, that have an emergency backup goalie that basically is there just in case.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's one of those things where he's done an incredible job. He's really worked himself into, he deserves to be there. He deserves to be able to dress, and be with the guys on the bench for the state tournament. And it's one of those things where he's got to be ready to go. We've told him, like, hey, yeah, you're going to dress as a skater, but you're going to have your gear in the locker room, and if something happens to one of our goalies, you're going to go put it on.
Yeah, right.
And then obviously the next game he'd have it on if the goalie, whoever got hurt or whatever couldn't play. So it's definitely it's a luxury. Definitely not something that you can take for granted. But it's also another fun thing to have a guy that is not going to be afraid to block a shot, because that's really what he does.
Right.
So it's another, you can't have enough of those when you get to the state tournament either, because everything turns into a one-shot game. Things can turn into that, and having another person that'll go out there and literally lay down in front of the puck and is used to laying down in front of the puck, is something that's a good thing to have.
And like I said, most teams, especially there's a lot of teams in this state tournament that don't even have a backup goalie that's formidable to come in and play if they need to. You guys have 2 goalies. When whoever is playing, you have 2 other goalies that can be ready to go in the state tournament, which, again, you don't want to have to use it, and you hope that the rest of the state doesn't have to worry about an injury to a goalie or anything like that. But you guys are the luxury of don't have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, for whatever reason, the way we've had to roster teams is a little bit different this year, and where we're not able to dress, to have 25 people down and then pick which 20 we're dressing. We kind of have to lock in our 20 and then ride with it, and that was one of those things where we just felt he's that important to us to be in that group of 20, just in case, again, if something happens, God forbid we play a triple overtime game or a double overtime game in the semifinal and our goalie pulls his groin, making his 1100th save of the game, in a long game, and then all of a sudden we go into Sunday, we make the championship, and then our goalie gets hurt, gets a ding in the head in the first period, and then you're out of luck. You're playing the championship game with nobody. So, obviously it's a, quite a string of events,
right.
But, but at the same point in time, you want to be prepared for it. And, we also feel like he's definitely earned the right to be there, and then, can also add some value as a shot blocker.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course, Aberdeen is your opponent on Friday, and we'll stay on the subject of goalies because there's a lot of really good goalies in this state that are going to be at the state tournament. We might see some real low-scoring games. If you're a fan of offense, you might be a little nervous about how good the offense can be throughout the entire tournament. But if you're a fan of defense and a fan of good goaltending, this is the tournament for you.
Yeah, there's going to be every game, I think, is going to have an opportunity where a goalie could legitimately steal the game. And it's not always the one you think. We look at that 1-8 matchup. That was a game where in Watertown where McBride had Watertown ahead with 40 seconds left in the game. So I think he ended up with 73 saves or something in that game. If you just decide you're going to stop 73 pucks in a night, that's pretty tough to win a game. If you're the other team and you're saying, well, we need to have more than 73 to score.
Right.
And then we need to, if they score, now we need more than 74. That's a tall task. So, that could happen there. You go to the 2-7 matchup. Brookings is a team that just don't give up goals. They don't give up a lot of chances. And then you look at the 7 seed Sioux Falls 2. Their goalie stood out and had a 48 save shutout against us. Then Sioux Falls 1's goalies had a couple 55 save games. Their 1-1 tie with Brookings was a 55 save night for Flanagan. So it's just one of those things where you just never know who's going to just decide, well, you're not scoring on me today. So guys, go get one and we'll make it happen.
Right, and that's the fun that you could see anything happen especially in this first round. You can see anything happen on Saturday and Sunday too. But that first round where any of the 8 teams there could be 4 winners that are, one, you hope that there's at least one higher seed that wins because hopefully it's the Y Capitals, but there could be 3 or 4 lower seeds all win depending on how on goaltending.
Yeah.
And not even just on goaltending, but just what happens in front of them too.
Yeah, and that's, you watch the NHL. It's the same way when you get into the playoffs. Not too long. I guess it was kind of long ago. I know Coach Katilnik will enjoy this because it's probably the last good memory he's had from NHL hockey. But the Kings, when they won it, they won it as the 8th seed.
Yeah.
Daryl Sutter was their coach, and they had Jonathan Quick, and Jonathan Quick just decided for about a month and a half to not let anyone score, and they won the Stanley Cup. For an 8 seed to win the Stanley Cup is pretty incredible. I think that was the first time. I'm not going to be 100% certain on that, but I think it was the first time that had ever happened. And again, that happened very, very, very much because of Jonathan Quick deciding not to give up any goals. So, that can happen, and that's a lot harder to do for 6 to 8 weeks like you have to do in the NHL when you're playing best of 7, best of 7, best of 7, best of 7, as opposed to this weekend where you need to do it 3 times. Right.
You just have 3 games to make it happen. Do I dare say anything about the Detroit Red Wings last night?
It was a rough one.
Yeah.
We were packing, and it was one of the times where, usually you're like, gosh, I really want to sit down and watch the game. I'm like, no, I'm good. Give me the really heavy box, or give me something that just is painful, because it won't be more painful than watching this. A .333 save percentage.
2 goals on
3 shots.
Yeah.
It's pretty good when you switch goalies, and then 3 shots later you're like, okay, let's switch back. So, yeah, that was a tough one. It's always tough. They got booed off the ice, and it's hard to hear that. But, it's hard to –
It was against the Arizona Coyotes.
It's against the worst team in the NHL.
Yeah. It's bad to happen against any team, but it's kind of really bad to happen.
It's really bad.
The only good thing is that there's pretty much – the East has pretty much already got their 8 teams locked in for the playoffs. So, and the Red Wings are not one of those teams, but you're not sitting there trying to fight for a playoff spot because I think the closest team is 12 points behind.
Yeah.
So – You're a little bit better.
You know me. I'd defend him with everything I can, but there's really not much defending.
Well, the goalies didn't defend much either last night.
That's a good point.
But hopefully we're going to see a lot of good goaltending over the weekend. Of course, all 11 games are on Capital City Rock, and you can watch them on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports as we're talking with Coach Steve Steele here of the Y Capitals. Your team coming in at 13-7. You got that big win against Sioux Falls, 1 in overtime. We'll hear from Ashton Grease on Friday morning as well. But he made the comment and kind of spoil what his clip's going to be. But last year you guys went to the state tournament and lost that game, giving up a goal in the last 25 seconds, lost in overtime. Last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago, you gave him a goal in the last minute on the same rink, different team, and he came back and won in overtime. He said that shows a lot of growth and shows that we're in a better spot going into the state tournament because we can do something. We don't want to do that, but we can do something like that.
Yeah, kind of looking for some comedic relief. That's kind of what we said at the end of that game before we went to overtime when we tied. We're like, hey guys, look at the bright side. We made it 4 seconds longer than we did in the semifinals. It's progress, guys. We could speed this up though and just go win, and then it doesn't matter, and we did. So I think that was again, it's one of those things where I think at times you put so much pressure on yourselves as kids, especially when you're out there, and then some things happen that you just can't control. It's really tough when you're taking a shot from there and people are trying to block it, and if you miss it by just a little bit, then it's harder for the goalie to see, harder for the guy behind you to see, and so many things can happen that, as long as they went out there and they did their best, which they did, they felt good about it and didn't dwell on it and went out and found a way to get it done in overtime. So it was a really good moment of growth for our guys to know that, even when bad things happen like that we couldn't control, we found a way to fight back and win in the end.
Your captain, Ashton Grease, talk about him. What you have liked and what he's been a very good captain for this team this year.
I think he's really well-rounded. I think that's the thing that's really he's demonstrated over the course of this season. He's become a really well-rounded player and a well-rounded person. I think going back in the past, he was more of a shoot-first guy a lot of times, you know what I mean? And I think he's really grown in the defensive end. He's really taken on a larger role in the defensive zone, and then he's really become a distributor, and he's been okay with that, which has been great. You've seen our top line thrive because of that, and it's something that that line would not be what it is without him being okay, being like, yeah, I don't have to be the goal scorer all the time because, Jaron and Carter can score too, and, they're very, very good hockey players. So he's done a really good job of that, and I think that mood is kind of pushed on to the rest of the team of being, hey, we don't all have to be the scorer, and we can be okay with that. We can be a playmaker, and we can be a guy that is, playing hard in the defensive zone. And, if I don't get a point on a play where I'm making a defensive play and then the puck's going the other way and I can't make it up there, that's okay. So, it's been a very, very cool year to see him, and having coached him for about 6 years now or 5 years now, however long it's been, seeing that progression in him as a person and as a young man has just been a lot of fun to see.
How important, maybe not so much on the score sheet, but just how important overall is he to the success of this weekend?
It's huge. Him and Dre and Jaden, our three captains, are very, very important. And again, one of our kind of little mantras has been, riding the train, not getting too high or too low throughout the course of the game or the season. And continuing to focus on playing for the right reasons, playing for everybody in that locker room and everybody at home, and I think the guys they've done a good job of keeping everyone grounded like that, and not letting everyone, focus on themselves or focus on stats, and just trying to focus on the big stat that's goals for our team.
I'm going to try and see if I'm not going to try and stump you. I'm just going to try and see if I can get this out of you. For the White Capitals to win the state championship, they have to do what?
Win 3 games.
I was,
sounds like you got stumped.
No, I'm not stumped. I was just hoping that wasn't going to be. Can you elaborate on how you win those 3 games? Don't say score more than the other team.
No, I said really. We have to play our style. We've got to shoot. We've got to shoot really, really well. I think when we've gotten ourselves into opportunities, high quality scoring opportunities, and if we can shoot our best for 3 straight games, I think we're state champs. I said I think we're going to get the opportunities. We're going to get the shots that we want. If we can convert on them, at a high enough percentage, then we're going to do it. Because I think that our kids have put in the time. They've understood and done a good job absorbing our plans going into this weekend. So I think we're going to get to the areas that we need to get to. It's just going to be finishing those opportunities and hopefully not making any mistakes on the other side of the ice. And really that's it. I think we've got a team that when we get the opportunities that we feel that we should get, if we can shoot the way we're capable of, I think we can score a lot of goals on anybody.
If the Hawaii Capitals win the state championship, what would that mean?
That'd mean a lot. It'd just be a really fun thing. We've got 1 in the program's history, and I said I think we've only been to 2 in the history of the program, into the finals, that is. Just being able to do that would be pretty cool. We had our Pee Wee team going and down and win it a couple weeks ago now, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Almost feels like almost a month ago.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, but they did a great job down there.
Yeah, but anytime that one of your levels, is able to go and win a state championship, that's just something special for the program and for the community because, again, it's a small community. Compare us to Sioux Falls, who's got bazillion people and a bazillion families and 8 high schools on both hockey teams. Brookings has a lot more, and they've had a team for so much longer. There's in Rapid City again. They, I guess if Sioux Falls has a bazillion, they're just
half bazillion.
Half bazillion, yeah. You know what I mean? So when you look at things, we shouldn't by pure numbers be able to compete at the level that we feel that we can, and so anytime any of our levels are able to go and have that ultimate success of the team and win it, it's special.
Been talking with Coach Steve Steele here at the Hawaii Capitals. I'll let you go here in just a moment. I appreciate you talking a little bit longer here. But unless now I talked about what it takes to win those 3 games, what does it take to win on Friday, the first game against the Aberdeen Cougars?
Yeah, the biggest thing on Friday is going to be winning the transition battle. That's what they want to do. We've got to clear out the front of our net. I think that would be the 2 things. If we can get win the transition battle, we get the odd mans or more of the odd mans than they do, and we can clear up our own net front. Then I think we're moving on to Saturday evening.
And, I guess there's a possibility that it won't be Rushmore, but if seats hold out, it would be Rushmore and a chance to get a little revenge on them Saturday. But I know that's the farthest thing from your mind right now is all you're thinking about is beating Aberdeen first and then worrying about because again, you never know. This tournament's pretty wide open, and especially these first 4 games, anybody can take them.
Yeah, and that's kind of the mentality we've had with the kids. Anytime anyone's brought up Saturday, we're like, well, let's worry about Saturday on Saturday, or Friday at 5 o'clock when we're done playing, because until then, it doesn't mean a whole lot. Nothing matters past Friday at 2 o'clock right now, and it'd be pointless to waste our time on it.
Coach Steve Steele, the UI Capitals. Coach, I appreciate the time. Thanks for talking again. Appreciate staying here a little bit longer, and looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Good luck to you. Good luck to the Capitals, and hopefully we are celebrating a state championship here Sunday night.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Thanks, John, for having me on. Thanks to the LB here for having us here all year, and thanks for putting up with me first all year.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with me. I appreciate that, too. Coach Steve Steele, the UI Capitals, they play on Friday against the Aberdeen Cougars. 2:05 is scheduled puck drop. We'll have all 11 games of the state tournament on Capital City Rock and on YouTube at Capital City Rock Sports. We'll talk with Coach Steve Gray coming up here on the Pure Baseball team. After this, you're listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on KCCR.
DT and Dale here for the Long Branch in downtown Pier. You know, the LB is a great place to kick back, relax, and unwind.
It has been for years, and it has a fantastic menu for lunch or dinner. Love that variety.
Yeah, good point. But we would be remiss if we didn't tell you about the best wings in town.
Tuesdays at the LB, try the delicious wings. And the more you buy, the more you save. The LB, the Long Branch in downtown Pier. Now the home of KCCR's Coach's Corner, Wednesday evenings.
This winter, sip on a delicious hot cocoa and lose yourself in the grace of a fresh falling snow before you smash that hot mug on the driveway and join First Dakota to bank some noise for winter sports. Stomp for block shots, holler for match ceiling takedowns, and go berserk for a perfect dismount. Let's give the home team all we've got. Bank some noise with us at First Dakota National Bank. Open a new account online today at firstdakota.com, member FDIC.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Krueger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Krueger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
For 30 years, Todd's Electric Service has had the privilege of providing electrical wiring solutions for residential, commercial, and agricultural customers in central South Dakota. From small service calls to large commercial projects, Todd's Electric Service has experienced electricians for any job. Call 223-2518 to schedule your project. Todd's Electric Service is your line to power. 223-2518.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
It takes hard work to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than just sports. It also goes for your financial goals. You work hard for your money. You deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. Your local Edward Jones financial advisor can help. If your investments aren't getting you closer to the win, visit edwardjones.com or stop by your local Pier Area Edward Jones office for a financial review. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here and into the Long Branch as we continue Coach's Corner, listen to KCCR Pier, a Riverfront broadcasting station, as we're joined by Coach Steve Gray of the Pier Governor baseball team. And as you know, it's cold outside right now, but it is great to be talking some baseball. And Coach, it is always good talking to you. But let's talk some baseball, because Major League Baseball, they're in their own way right now. But high school baseball, we're 3.5 weeks away from having first pitch.
Yeah, we're ready to go. I mean, it's spring will come here soon, so we're ready to go.
And this Pier Governor baseball team, we're going to see a lot of names that we saw last year, and we're going to see some new names as well. But there's a core that's back again from last year's team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you bring back our number one pitcher and Brady Getz, and then you bring back Lincoln, and that's the good core right from the get-go. Those guys and. We're just, excited to get those guys out on the field. We've been starting to hit, on Sunday nights, and we'll start transitioning to full practice here in the next couple weeks. And, it's coming. It's kind of a transition. We kind of got a plan. We kind of, start hitting, start doing arm work, and then we start working towards about the 23rd of March where we kind of go full-time.
And for the last couple of years, you guys have been doing some hitting throughout the offseason, and of course, in Ryan Krueger's garage to make that happen. And that's big to get those. Yes, the batting cage isn't the same as a live pitch, but to get those reps in, that's a big deal to before the season starts.
Yeah, absolutely. I had somebody the other day ask me. One of the things they really love about our program is we got a bunch of multi-sport athletes. They do multiple things. And I said, and that's we love about them too. They're very versatile in that, and so we try to work around, some basketball schedules and swimming and tennis, or not so much wrestling and stuff in the winter, and give guys a break. But our guys are really good about hitting in the off season and doing things to get ready. And like I said, I told them the first night when we got together, I was like, hey, April 1st, 5 o'clock, we got to be ready to go in Sturgis. And it's like, whatever you got to do to prep yourself, get there. We can't, as coaches, get you all the way there. You've got to do some of the work on your own.
And yeah, Sturgis is the first opponent out west, and how I like to always call it the West Coast trip to open up the season. But you get a chance to go on the road to open things up, and typically the weather's a little bit better out there anyway. But it's good to get out there. Sturgis is always they're maybe not competing for a state championship every year, but they're always a really tough and a good opponent to begin the season.
Absolutely, you got to show up and play because they've got good athletes, and. We just got to come out and do what we do, throw strikes and put the ball in play, and Sturgis will be good. I mean, they're returning some guys too, and it'll be a good challenge.
Rapid City Central is that second day that is in Rapid City on that Saturday, so you play Friday, April 1st. There is no fooling. April 1st is opening day, and then Saturday, April 2nd in Rapid City. But the great thing about what you guys have put on the schedule this year, there's a couple of JV games.
Yeah, we decided to do that. That was a good idea from some parents and doing kind of some of that post, asking questions, how we can do better type things. And it's like, that makes good sense. We got to get some work in for our younger guys. And it's always hard as you're doing things in the seeding point situation where games are really important, when it comes to down the road. So doing this takes some pressure off of that. We can get some young arms some work, some catchers some work, just some guys, just some at-bats that they wouldn't ordinarily get.
Yeah, and because you look at the season goes really quickly. You play mostly weekends. There's a couple weekday games, but you can't afford, and I don't want to say that because you can afford to play those JV games and move guys around to different spots and try different things where you don't have that same mentality of being able to do that. Allegiance season and you're playing non-South Dakota teams, you get that opportunity. There is no opportunity like that in the high school baseball season.
Right, and our, like I said, our schedule this year is very challenging. We did that for a reason. We want to see where our guys stand, and it's a good schedule. Obviously I like to do personally for us is get on the road early and then backload it with games at home, especially for our are for our seniors, so they're at home during when all the stuff's going on around graduation and that time frame, and just being at home. And we always play well at home. I mean, Hyde Stadium's been good to us, and we play well there, and got great fan support. So it'll be a little warmer, so hopefully more people come.
That's right. And that next weekend, we're going to we won't break down the entire schedule, but you are right that once the April 26th hits, you're home the rest of the season. You get one home game on April 16th, and then April 26th, you're home all the way until May 15th, where you play the last home game of the season, or the last game of the regular season. But you go then to you play 2 games on a Friday and Saturday on April 8th and 9th in Sioux Falls against Brandon Valley, O'Gorman, Harrisburg, and Jefferson. Those are 4 big games to play against, but 4 really fun opportunities for you guys.
Yeah, it was interesting how that came about. It was more kind of a combination of things. I wanted to make sure we got Brandon on the schedule, and nothing kept working with their schedule and our schedule. I'm like, hey, can we just play in your border battle? Because that's the weekend that they all play the North Dakota teams from Fargo and stuff. And they put us in, so we're kind of squeezed our way in. And I was like, okay, maybe we'll play some teams from Fargo and all that stuff. And then they just threw all the South Dakota teams, which is fine. I mean, that's good for us. I mean, we'll see how we measure up. And, you go play Brandon, you go play Harrisburg, you're definitely going to show up and play.
Yeah, and Harrisburg's obviously got some really good guys return. They're the state champions from last year, so they're gonna be a really good team again this year.
Yeah, and then you add that smaller field down there with now the BB Corbats, and they're going to be, they were tough enough to pitch to the way it was, the way it is, and then you give them a little more pop to the thing. It'll be entertaining. So
absolutely. Talking with Coach Steve Gray here of the Pierre Governor baseball team. Opening day is April 1st out in Sturgis. They'll play the doubleheader, and then they play Rapid City Central with a JV game first, and then the varsity game will follow 5 and 7 Mountain Time, and 11 and 1:30 Mountain Time on those Friday and Saturday. And all Pierre Governor baseball games, varsity games, will be on KCCR and available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Baseball season. Baseball season is the best season, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. As much as I love football, baseball to me is king for me.
Right.
So.
I was going to say, asking a baseball coach if baseball's the perfect season, and of course he's going to say yes. Yeah. But there's so much. Yeah. It's relaxing. It's a lot of. I mean, there maybe not so much in the game. There's not as much relaxing, but it's just after a long winter in South Dakota, even as warm as we've had it, it's just nice to get some warm days to go to the ballpark and watch some baseball.
Yeah, get the sun out. You get bouncing your stuff, and it's just you just feel different. You get out on we had a couple of days last week where it was sunny. It's like, man, this is what you're there for.
Right, ready to play baseball already.
We're hoping we have those instead of our last year's Huron games and things like that, which were, I think every time we go to Huron, it's either 190 degrees or it's like 30 below. And
well, thank goodness we're not going to Huron.
No, thank goodness.
Huron's going to come to us
thank
this
goodness.
year.
Yes.
And you could go back and watch those games on YouTube at KCCR Sports, because you can see the snowflakes on the camera, because they were big snowflakes, and it was a chilly. But that's also the fun of it too, because it's kind of a life lesson, but also a big challenge, because it's cold for the other team too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can make excuses all in the world, but it's just as cold for them as it is for you guys.
And then when we did, I just remember that day we show up, and I'm like, hey, man, we're showing up, we're playing baseball. It's just the way it is. It's going to be a little rugged, but dang it, we're going to get it done. And, it was cold, but we made it happen. We've been over there. One of the first seasons we were over, it was very similar to that on a Friday night, and it was she was cold. And it was that was very similar last year. I think we were on there on a Tuesday night. It's like, man, oh man, it was nice to just get in the car when it was all over with 2 wins and drive home. So.
Right. I was going to say that's the biggest thing. If you split or go home at 0-2, then that cold, it's not a fun memory anymore going to a place like that or having the temperature like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but that one was a very memorable one for many reasons, and playing in snow. Some of those guys never played in snow. I mean, you play college baseball, you're going to play in snow all the time. It's just part of the deal. And have the sun come out, snow, and it would just kept going. So.
Talking with Coach Steve Gray here, the Pierre Governor baseball team, and again, they open up the season on April 1st and 2nd out in Sturgis and Rapid City. Those games will be on KCCR and available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. So as we get closer to the season, you've got a couple more weeks here to get the practice. How do you handle especially early on, because like right now, if you guys would try and go outside, it just wouldn't be possible. How do you handle when to get outside to go to get practice in, when you stay inside? How do you handle the inside stuff compared to the outside stuff?
That's a challenge, and the one thing I'll say is we've been very lucky over the last 7 to 8 years. We've provided manpower for the hockey rink takedown. So with that, with the Hockey Association, they've allowed us to squeeze out a few days at the end of their time frame having the building over there. And so that relationship has worked out really well. So we provide bodies to help take down boards and, just clean the place up, get the ice out, do all those types of things. And then in exchange, we've got some room to work. Our hope is we don't have to go inside, but there's been many a year where that's been our practice. Because there was, 3 years ago, I can remember, first time we took true infield on the grass was in Sturgis on a Friday night.
I remember that was the first year that I was here. That was we were talking about that. Greg Dean did the game with me, and we were talking about that and how there was no infield practice until you got the IO to start before the game started.
And you can't, you can have it on concrete, and it's always ironic. Every year our bases are still there from 7-8 years ago. They're still taped down underneath the ice, and it's just funny as you take everything down. Is like, there's everything that we left last year. There it is. And that year was just very ironic. It's like, well, guys, this is the key. We're going to go through our IO, how we're going to do it, but we ain't going to be able to hit the grass until we get that Friday night, and luckily that Friday night was nice out in Sturgis at that. So.
Still have snow out in the outfield.
Oh yes, there was snow on in the shade
track.
In the warning track.
Yeah.
Yes, that is very true. It's just part of baseball in the spring.
Right.
And if you want to play bad enough, you're gonna figure out a way.
Yeah, and it's. Coming from Missouri, there was no chance of any snow on a baseball field ever.
Yep.
If there's any snow on a baseball field, you were not going to be playing baseball at that time. South Dakota, it's a little bit different. You guys are built a little bit different because if there's some snow but not completely covering the field, you're playing some baseball.
You're playing baseball. It's just part of the deal, and to get games in, you got to do some extraordinary things at times, and. Like I said, on that weekend, everybody's all jacked up, ready to go, and then, everybody be bouncing around. So, guys get used to wearing long sleeves. So.
And obviously you do what you have to be able to do and can do. But how important is it to be able to have a nice day to get on the field and get some work in before opening day?
Yeah, it's just nice to put sky under fly balls, and ground balls act different than they do on a concrete floor. And, it's just like anything. Seeing baseballs, throwing live batting practice to guys and getting that look. So it's always a challenge, but everybody's in the same boat. Some of the Sioux Falls teams probably get more work because they've got bigger facilities and they go south a little bit, but
they got turf. They got that turf stuff and everything that they can work on. Yeah.
That's fine. You know what? We love to have them come to our stadium so we can get after them. So. We like the challenge, and got a great group of kids, so it's always fun.
Again, talking with Coach Steve Gray here, the Pierre Governor baseball team, and all Pierre Governor varsity games will be on KCCR and on YouTube to watch at KCCR Sports. It's going to be another fun year, and obviously you guys, the ultimate goal going into the season is you want to host the regional.
Yep.
And then once you get to that regional, then the goal changes into want to make the state tournament. Yep. And you guys have been able to do that. I guess the 2 years I've been here, because 2019 and 2021 and 2020, obviously, the unfortunately not having a season, but that's the goal for you guys, is to be able to be at home on that regional tournament.
Yeah, that's always our goal. I mean, we talk about it right from the get-go. It's like, that's kind of our reward to our guys, our old guys. Our seniors have been with us for a long time. It's like, we want to play at home on that graduation weekend and have family there and see some neat things and that type of thing. And like I said, we play great on Hyde Stadium. I've played some great big games on the stadium, and and the turnout's awesome, and kids are jacked up and ready to go, and we've been close. The last 2 times we've had a chance to do it, we kind of had a weird thing in 2019 where we played one game and went to Watertown to play the next one, and then last year we were there, played a good Brandon Valley team, and they just happened to beat us on home field, and but that's what we work for, is to be at home to do those things and, have some special moments on our field.
As after that loss to Brandon Valley, and you feel bad for the seniors that don't get the opportunity to come back this year, but leaves a little bit of sour taste in the mouth to make sure that doesn't happen again this year.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to the boys. I handed it out to them, and we've got it posted over where we hit. We just took a little picture off their Facebook page, and we handed out cards just to remind them nobody's celebrating our field ever again. So they took a nice picture in front of our Bank West scoreboard, and that's fine. They deserved it, but you know what? Nobody's doing it again.
That's right. Yeah, 2021 is the last time that's
going
to happen.
That ain't happening again. So we use that as a little motivation. I mean, Brandon's a great baseball team, well coached and everything, but just don't like people celebrating on your home field. So.
And how do you handle the first couple weekends are tough for everybody because you're trying to get in the groove of playing some baseball games again or being on potentially even be on the field for the first time. Yeah. But it's such a short season that you have to jump out to a good start. How do you make that happen?
We're lucky. We've got a few guys. I've got some of our seniors like Brady and Gary Nedved and Spencer Lettler. Those guys have been over there hitting. So we're going to rely on those old guys to start with. Say, hey, I told them, I was like, guys, you guys got to be ready. When it comes that first Friday, you guys should be way ahead of my basketball players and wrestlers and stuff because you've had the time this winter. And they're good. I mean, I know those guys have been there. Brian's told me, who's coming and going and stuff. So that's always, those guys are taking ownership of that process and leading along. They want to win games, their last go around this whole thing too. And, they're excited, ready to go, and I'm sure they'll perform.
You mentioned Ryan Krueger and obviously Dirk Campbell, part of the coaching staff. I think I ask you every single year, but I always love to hear some of the answers. How much fun it is to coach with those guys.
It's awesome. It's like Dirk and I always refer to it. So it's kind of funny. But I think this is year 10, 11. I can't remember. I can never keep it straight. But we always talk. I talk to Teresa, his wife, and I say, we're married for like the next 4 months. You know that, right? Yes, and she gets it and said, yes, we talk like 2 or 3 times a day. And it's just the way it is. And then you go through the summer, it's like you go through this withdrawal because you don't see the guys,
Right.
And so just a great group of guys. They're fun, teach a lot of baseball. This year we're adding Landon Badger into the process, so starting to get some young blood into the process and some different teaching, and that'll be fun to have him around as a former player and had a great college career, so it'll be great to get his expertise and his energy and, his involvement in teaching and, like I said, no better outfielder than to have that guy do it. I mean, he's the best center fielder I've ever seen, and just to have him to be able to teach our outfielders how to do things and do it the right way. And then as great a hitter as he was, too, is to teach those little pieces and parts. So it's always fun. Got a great group of coaches, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and just how important is Badger going to be here this year? Because he's he's coached the Junior Legion program for the last couple of years, but be able to put them in the high school baseball team and being the coach, how important is that?
Absolutely. I mean, he's, he knows the guys well. I mean, it's not like there's even a transition for him, with that. He's coached most of these guys multiple times. And so to have him around is going to be invaluable. I mean, he's, great guy, was a great player for us and just a good dude,
Now does he do some of the stuff that you guys – don't want to physically have to do anymore? You got to make him say, hey, by the way, since you're 23, 24 years old, why don't you go do this real quick?
He'll probably get to throw his fair share of batting practice, so I'm sure of that. He's got a little less years on his arm, so that's good. So
I think I was talking to him the other day. I think he's trying to find a way to get out of it because he's talking about it. He said he doesn't have an arm anymore.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go.
I was going to say, I think he's just trying to see if anybody else. Maybe he said it around me just for the simple fact that maybe I would repeat it, which I guess I technically did.
Yeah, that's good.
But
that's good.
Now you're going to be sending him a text. I don't think so. There's no way.
Yeah, there's a pecking order to this thing. Right. Sorry, bud. Yeah. But no, we look forward to having Lando a part of the deal. I mean, he's had so many, in our high school baseball program, so many great moments have been part of with him around with some, hits and home runs and the things he did, in center field. It was always cool to watch. And, then to see him go on to college was just awesome. As a coach, you just love to see your guys continue to compete and obviously strive and do great things.
And you can go to Facebook on KCCR Sports and you can go and watch that video that you get a chance to you didn't get to induct him, but you got to tell him that he was going to be inducted to the High School Baseball Hall of Fame, which is the first guy in the Pierre area to have that happen. And that's a special moment and a really something cool to be able to be a part of.
Yeah, to be able to do it in person was awesome because, you always see that thing. I always thought it was cool when they show the NFL induction and the guy knocks on the door and he rolls in and, there's just a whole lot of emotion. And, Lando really didn't know what was going on, and that was what was cool. We ran him down at work and had his mom and dad there and, and all us, Dirk and Ryan, and then we had Sam with us and John, and it was just cool to see, his reaction. So he was genuinely surprised and well deserved, and it was, like I said, seeing some really cool things come around with Lando.
And he saw his parents there, and they said they were going to talk to his boss, and am I in grade school again? Why are they talking to the principal? Usually that doesn't happen very often. That teacher, your parent, but of course it was there to surprise him and stuff. And that was so much fun. And no one more deserving to be able to be that first guy.
Absolutely. And I know down the road here we're going to have a couple other guys I'm sure will be part of the process, and that'll be fun. You know, that as a coach, that's a great thing is when your guys are recognized. It's just like, it's just cool stuff.
There's a lot of guys that I guess there's a certain year eligibility that you have to wait for. So there's guys that are coming up.
Oh, there's some guys coming,
years.
Absolutely.
I think there's one that might be playing some baseball still right now.
I got a feeling there's going to be a couple of them there. So it's cool, and like I said, it's just. That's what's nice. Our baseball program has come a long way from the beginning, and see those guys get some recognition is awesome.
Because this is a team that's not high school baseball. Pure high school baseball is not very old.
No,
this is going to be, like you said,
year 10-ish.
Yeah,
10-ish, 11-ish. Like I said, we really feel bad. We lost that year with COVID with Gray Zabel and Garrett Stout and that whole crew, guys. That was a good baseball team. And. That was a tough one because, man, we were old. We had deep pitching. We had a bunch of young guys that were with us too, and that team there would have went deep into the process, and they would put a hurting on some people. So,
and it's there's a lot of really good high school baseball teams. Going into this year too. There was going to be a lot in 2020, and you guys were going to be one of those that had the target on your back. And not saying that you don't this year, but there's a lot of really good high school baseball teams, especially that. When you go to Sioux Falls and play those teams, and you go out west, there's going to be a lot of good competition.
Yeah, you show. I always look at Brandon. Brandon's well coached. They've been there before, and they're always going to be competitive. Roosevelt's always good. Brookings, to me is always a good baseball program, and Lincoln's always been there. So Gorman, you always got to show up. When you go, you got to show up because if not, you're going to get thumped. And
again, a really short season, you can't afford to have too many losses.
Absolutely. And I love the way it's changed since it used to be more region based, and it was kind of that way. I love the seeding thing. To me, it just creates competition all the time. Every game matters. I just like it. And we've always been, lucky where we've been in that top four. And we're trying to get there. And like I said, goal number one right from the get-go. So.
And the high school baseball playoffs much different than what you see in the summer and Legion because you lose one, you're done. But it's just 4 wins to win a state championship. I say just. It takes a lot to win those 4 games.
Absolutely.
But it quickly can get away from you. If one bad inning can be the end of a postseason.
We talk about it all the time. Our goal is, as we're setting up, as we're picking our team, as we're putting things together, is our goal is to set up a pitching staff to win 2 games in one day. And that sounds simple, but how do you do it with your pitch counts, and how do you do it with, So, like this, we've done a really nice job over the years of developing, obviously, extra pitching, so which helps you with your depth throughout the year. But we've always kind of tried to hone it down, where we got a starter, we got a middle guy, we got a closer. So not let guys, be seen more than 2 times. And that really, that's just how it just makes it tougher when the guy can't hone in on a third at bat with somebody and, their fastball's not where it needs to be. And, so we've really tried to do that is we create our depth our depth is to be created to win those 2 games in one day. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the fun of what high school baseball is. Talk with Coach Steve Gray here, the Pierre Governor baseball team, and again, their first game of the season, April 1st and 2nd, the first weekend of April. That Friday and Saturday, we'll have all varsity games on KCCR and available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Before I let you go, and I know we're sitting on March 9th right now, but being the last Coach's Corner, we don't get a chance to talk on Coach's Corner again. Mm-hmm. So what do the Pierre Governors need to do to be 3-0 after that first weekend today?
I think our pitching is there. We're going to have the depth. It's simple. Put the ball in play and throw strikes. It's a very simple game. I mean, don't put extra people on base. Our catching's got to grow up quick. Deegan's a little beat up, so he's not going to be with us much, from wrestling and football. Got a little beat up, so we aren't going to have the experienced catching that we typically do. So that's going to be a challenge. With that piece of the puzzle, we control the game there. I know I'm very competent with our bats. With Link at the top, man, that guy makes things happen. It's just the way it is. We're better with that guy on the field. So, Brady will go out and throw strikes. I'm not worried about that. We get some, go out and throw strikes with him, Spencer Kelly, and Jackson, and Jet, and then Lincoln coming in to finish some things out. We'll be in good shape. But it's a simple game. Don't make it complicated. Throw strikes, put the ball in play.
It sounds easy. Sometimes it's not
that easy.
I was gonna say it makes you pull your hair out every once in a while on how simple it should be, but how sometimes hard it actually is to execute.
Yep.
Coach Steve Gray of the Pierre Governors. Coach, I appreciate the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so much fun to talk with you.
It's springtime, man. It's ready to go.
It's always a joy, especially in Coach's Corner, to be able to talk baseball because it's in the wintertime that we get to do it. So it's always refreshing to be able to talk about some warmer weather.
Yeah, it's coming, and it's going to come fast and furious, and like it always does. And it's just like, you know what? It's time to get the uni on and get ready to go get her.
That's right. In that first game, April 1st and 2nd, those first games, this first weekend of April, and that Friday and Saturday, we'll have it on KCCR and available to watch on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We will return and wrap up Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch here on a KCCR, as we are listening to Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
For an excellent choice to meet, greet, or eat, be sure to head to Downtown Pier and the Long Branch. The Long Branch has plenty of room for the big groups, cozy spots for that intimate setting, and you're going to love the selections and variety on their menu. Plus, their specials are sure to please. There's a fantastic variety of libations available, and it's a great place to unwind. Now, home of KCCR Coach's Corner, Wednesday nights, come on down to the LB, the Long Branch, 351 South Pier Street, Downtown Pier.
People helping people.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pier, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pier is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the costs throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Wagner Auto Company is your complete transportation headquarters. You'll find a great selection of quality new Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Ram, and Jeep vehicles, plus a great selection of quality pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles. They'll take good care of you after the sale with a full-service parts and body shop, along with a friendly financing team that'll do their best to get you into your next new or pre-owned vehicle with financing that fits your budget. Wagner Auto is your local, family-owned, full-service dealership in Pier. WagnerAuto.com. That's WagnerAuto.com.
This is Coach's Corner on Central South Dakota Sports Station, AM 1240, today's KCCR.
As we welcome you back here from the Long Branch, as we wrap up Coach's Corner for the 2021-22 year, we thank the Long Branch for hosting us every single week. It's a lot of fun. Thanks to Coach Steve Steele, Coach Steve Gray, as we've been able to talk some hockey and baseball. As we will now take a long, well, I wouldn't say a long break, a break until next fall. We'll get back with the football season again, and we'll have Coach's Corner another year coming up in the end of August when football begins. So thanks to the Long Branch for hosting us all year long here for Coach's Corner, and thanks to our coaches here tonight, Coach Steve Steele and Coach Steve Gray, for talking here for hockey and some baseball. So again, thanks again for listening throughout this entire year, and we'll be back in August with more Coach's Corner here on KCCR.
Coach's Corner on KCCR and online at kccrradio.com. Coach's Corner live from the Long Branch has been brought to you by Krueger Contracting, Avera St. Mary's, Bank West, Birding Electric, Gales Gas, Edward Jones Financial, Gateway Ford, Lincoln and Toyota, Midwest Co-op, and Owyhee Federal Credit Union. Coach's Corner on KCCR is also brought to you by Lamb Motor, First Dakota National Bank, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, and Wagner Auto. Join us every Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 6:30 for Coach's Corner, live at the Long Branch in Pierre or on air at KCCR or kccrradio.com. This has been a special presentation of Riverfront Broadcasting Sports, Central South Dakota's sports leader.
Get up on the offensive glass, but also defensively. Get out on Colgate's